Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Welcome, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, it's 5.8G Alive. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, which brings you 5.8G Alive. With me, as usual, my dear friend.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, the other co-creator of Connections 50 Plus. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, Terry-Ann, International Men's Day, a day for us to celebrate all the men in our lives and in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. So,
and we have pulled a great panel together. So today we listening to the men and we understand what is their view of manhood. It has nothing to do with us women. Don't interrupt. So let's look at this exciting discussion on how men live in Trinidad. Great. Okay, people, we have celebrated International Men's Day last Sunday. And Jennifer and I, as we said, we have a distinguished panel of gentlemen. We're not discussing International Men's Day. We're just having a good old talk with men to get a sense of how you see in life. So let's start things.
Yes, we celebrated men in this show.
Exactly. So we'll start things off by just having each of the gentlemen just introduce themselves briefly, saying, who is this man that's in front of us? So we can start. Rodney, introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rodney Allen. I am, should I say my age? Well, I'm over 50, actually.
You're not a woman, you know.
You're 50 plus.
I am a proud 62 and
category.
everybody knows it. So we have no problem with numbers here at all.
All right, so I think I look like the youngest person in the group. So I'm 54. I'm 54 years old.
Great.
I'm an ex-military person. I was in the military for 26 and 2/3 years, and I retired in 2016. So I'm now enjoying the better part of my life.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Great.
And Emerson.
Well, I am almost 73. I did retire at the end of September 2016, but I continued teaching. I taught at the law school for over 30 years. I continued teaching even after retirement. I stopped teaching at the law school just about 2 years ago. I have done a lot of teaching all over, UE, SAMS, Inland Revenue School. So I've done more teaching than anything else. I also have a master's in accounting, and that's who I am. And I'm a very proud Dominican.
Okay.
Very good. And finally, Noel.
Well, my name is Noel Nottingham. And similar to Rodney, I was in sort of military too, but I work in the prison service.
Okay.
I retired from the prison service 16 years ago, because seeing everybody talking about 16, mine was 16 years ago. Right?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, well, I retired at 55. So do the maths, right? I am an artist. Some of my work in the background here. I draw, I paint, I sculpt, I do these kind of things. I'm a proud grandfather, you know,
Mm.
and I'm enjoying the life now more than before. That's it for now.
Great.
Good,
Actually,
Jennifer, I'll let
as you
keep
said that, thanks, gentlemen. We really have three distinguished gentlemen in front of us, Tarian.
different
Yeah.
and distinguished. Yes,
And 16, like 16 is the number.
yes, yes.
Apparently.
Good.
Let me just start asking, and each one of you all could respond. In terms of where you are now at this stage, as we say on the third act stage, compared to where you were before, is there a difference? How you see in your life now?
All right, well, I will jump right into it.
Sure.
I'm a lot more relaxed now, because a lot of things that what you would have wanted to accomplish, you would have already done that. So I think now is a time where you already paid off your mortgage, you don't have any set of loans. So the stress level is as minimum. And like Noel said, you're enjoying your grandchildren. They come over and they whatever you may be going through, by the time you see your grandson or your granddaughter, that just relieves all the stress. Everything just goes like a woosa, So I suppose that's the difference for me. I'm a lot less stressed out. It's much easier living for me now, basically. That's
Okay.
it.
That's great to know.
I agree with that because, I mean, while you're younger, your focus is more on family, and you're more taking care of the family. You had this responsibility to make sure that everyone was all right. You made sure that you fulfill their needs as best as you can. The good life, as you call it, the good life for me, it's not changed, it's evolved, because like Rodney was saying, it's a proud moment to see your children grow from, see them, you nurture them and they come adulthood and this kind of thing. And you could actually be called grandfather now or grandpa now. It takes off a lot of your stress too, because like he said, you don't have this thing, one of the things for me, I always try to do was to, make sure that when I retire, my mortgage retire with me. So I don't go into retirement having to pay, for house and this kind of thing. So I make sure that this and my job finish at the same time. So now me is for me. I retire. So yes, I'm enjoying my senior years. Let's put it that way.
Great. Emerson.
Well, management of money has been inculcated to me. I remember my aunt and a sister, and they'd always tell me, manage your money. And growing up home, it's very important to have a house. I paid off my mortgage long before I retired. That was very, very important to me. Not one single debt. And I would hope that it continues that way. Ensure that my children had an education, because I believe in the value of education. I worked hard in the yard. I provided many things. I baked my bread and my cake every weekend, put it in the freezer, my juice and everything, so that
I'm making a note about that, to get my bread and thing.
that was when I had my children and the wife around. Okay.
I thought you continued. Okay.
Nah, I kidding myself out like that now. I have to enjoy life, and that's very important. Enjoy life. Prepare for retirement. Prepare, even when you retire, you should be okay. you know, and
Yeah.
therefore you did. That's one of the reasons I taught at so many different places. I was once a treasurer manager of RAND, and so you brought in the income and you managed your money. You ensured that your home was okay. You had the usual problems that most people would have, and that's it.
Mhm, mhm. And you know, what I like that I'm hearing, and it's different, is you've all gotten to a place where you seem to be understood at stage, happy that you have done what you considered your core responsibility to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 And you are now into, as Noel mentioned, the word the good life. So
Life
what
has always been good as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. That's good. Yeah.
No, it's always been good.
good.
You had your little problems, but life has been good.
True.
Yeah, remember,
True.
remember what I said, you know, I said the good life, it evolved, you know. I didn't say is now the good life, you know. I said evolved. As a matter of fact, is the better life now.
It's getting better.
Absolutely. And is that the same for you, Rodney?
Well, yes, I will call this part of the sweet life.
So what is extra sweet about it? Is it that the responsibilities are not there? What is the thing that is sweeter now?
Well, just like Emerson and Noel said, when you were younger, your main focus as a man with a family is to ensure that you provide everything that they need and they require.
Mhm.
You have children, you make sure they get a good education, they go to school, you make sure the home is taken care of, the bills are paid. Those are your responsibilities as the man of the house.
Mhm.
When you get older and these children grow up and they come up the way you want them to come up, so both of them, well, I'm not, as I can speak for myself, both of them have good jobs and they're sturdy, they're not that, again, the law, well, both of them are actually in insurance. So they have their own vehicles, and now they're moving on and they're having their own families.
Police not
So you
looking for
can,
that.
no, they're not. So now you can say, listen, I think I did okay as a father and
Yeah.
as a man. I have taken care of my responsibilities. However, the responsibilities are not over because now children feel that they can just come and dump the grandchildren and go. That's what grandparents for. They had to go, Daddy, you can do this, pick up Bryson, take him here, do that.
You have
and just
time.
go.
You have time.
Because, you know, my time is not my time anymore, they feel. But no, like I said, I mean, but that's the sweet part of it too. So you're enjoying your grandkids. If you feel you're not bound by no sort of responsibilities anymore. Well, I mean, of course, you still have responsibilities, but not as much as you had back then. You feel to
Yeah.
get up in the morning, jump on a plane and go on a cruise. You don't have to call your boss and say, look, I'm looking for sick leave, I want some holidays. No, you jump on the plane and you go on your cruise, enjoy yourself, and you come back and you relax.
Yeah.
And that's why this, to me, this is a sweeter part of life.
Okay, great. And Emerson, what is the sweetness for you now? What has the sweetness changed?
Not really, you know. I think I have to be thankful for how my life has evolved.
Yeah.
You remember when I was growing up, I mean, and the difficulties that my mother had, and I was determined not to go through that at all, you know.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
how do you do it? You try to get an education, you work hard, manage your money. As my aunt and my sister would always tell me, manage your money. It's important.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I always heard about the people working on the port who had a number of homes. And
Yeah.
when they got their back pay or when they got their gratuity, it had to be shared with so many different homes.
Right.
That was not for me. at all,
Yeah. Yeah.
at all. So you manage your money, and you want to. I heard Rodney talk about going on vacation. I think I was able to go on vacation every year. There's another thing that some people do where they borrow money to go on vacation. I've never ever borrowed money to go on a vacation. Never. That was exceedingly important for me. Just as right now I don't have any loans. Whenever I borrowed money, it was to do something.
Great, great.
And I remember my the second car, I kept it for some 14 years. Oh yeah. But in the meantime, you're investing, you're doing things.
Yeah.
And that
Right.
helps you now that you've retired, and even before you retired, you're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Choice, sweetness is choice. And
Yeah.
Noel, what
Yeah.
is the sweetness? What is your sweetness? Apart from the grandchildren and stuff like that.
Well, my sweetness is like similar to their one, you know, but the thing is with me, I still allow my life to be free. You know, when I say free, like I don't restrict myself from going places because you know, the crime situation we have and that kind of thing. I go anywhere, right? Because I realize this life is a short life, and you'll allow these like criminal elements and things to restrict you from what you want to do, enjoying yourself. So I go anywhere. Yeah, you know, sweetness, I lime. I go on little trips, you know. I like the vacation thing. What you know? Yeah, I went several trips. I mean, I always used to do that too. Make sure you're going somewhere. You know, I like being a tourist. You know what I mean? So yeah. So the sweetness for me is just reaching this stage in your life when you look at the amount of people not even reaching half our age.
Yeah.
To
True.
accumulate this and to reach this age, this is the sweetness for me. Yeah. I live and I serve my God.
Yeah. It's interesting as you mentioned that, you know, because one of the things I do all the time, read the obituaries. And then you see so many people, so much younger, and many people I grew up with home,
Yeah.
dead. Dead. And my
You
thing, I
know,
thank God every day, but enjoy your life.
Yes.
Definitely.
True.
I was about to ask my next question. How do you manage your stress? But with your reply about the sweet part, the sweetness, it's sort of question, because if I have to interpret what you all have been saying, when I look at you release the stress, then was a responsibility. If you could have said that might have been a little stressful, but ensuring that your families are well taken care of, that the kids are educated, etc. And you feel you have achieved that. You have been very good men and fathers, ensuring that your children were well, your families were well taken care of. So now you said you could sit back and you don't have that heavy feeling, especially that, as Rodney said too, they did well. Emerson, you are happy with what has taken place, and those of you all who are enjoying your grants. So that stress level, to me, you don't have that stress level again.
Well,
And that says a lot. But I got too from Emerson is that when you don't wait from very early, when you look what is happening around you and with your family, whether it's your mother, father, etc., and you especially in negative aspects, you don't want that struggle. You look for ways that repeat, that type of life that they lived, especially if there was a lot of hardship. And
Right.
Emerson mentioned a situation that is very, well, I would say well known, especially in those days on the port. Growing up in that era, and you hear the complaints and you know, how the money is being divided by the different families. And as a result, they wouldn't build in wealth. There was no money to save towards the future, etc. And being a as you were in your younger days and doing something about it, you are definitely reaping the benefits. Could enjoy life and vacation and enjoy the grandchildren, etc. Congratulations. I must congratulate you, men, for where you are right now.
I
Thank you very
One
much.
of my my ways of combating stress is
Mhm.
I don't burden myself with thinking about things that I have no control over.
Yeah.
You know, like health and stuff like that. I mean, we all going to go one of these days. And really and truly, I don't believe in making a doctor rich enough so he can buy a yacht and enjoy himself with my money. No, if I know if I am sick, I sick. I know I'm sick, man. I still continue living as a living. You know, I don't restrict myself to a particular diet. I eat what I want, and, you know, and this kind of way. And that's what I do. I go and fish every week. Me and my brother and a couple of us, you know, we go fishing every week. I taking off my stress, you know what I mean? So, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I draw, I paint, I sculpt, I do my art, you know. So, and
that's how you
what,
distress.
yeah, I distress
No,
myself.
although I would want to agree with you to a certain level there.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, you're kind of throwing caution to the wind because
You mean the health part?
the health
The health
part, you
part.
know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was good with you all the time, you know, but then you see when you get to that part and you see you
Yeah.
eat what you want. I mean, I think that I'm not saying don't eat what you want to know, but I mean, at the end of the day, you still have to remember that you want to live to enjoy what you're enjoying still, and not eating and not doing the right thing a little excess. And I ain't saying go in the gym and kill yourself for 10, 20 hours. You want to be no strong man, you ain't going for no competition. You just want to
Yeah.
maintain a little healthy lifestyle. You take a little walk, a little jog, do a skip, whatever. You and your significant other could hold hands, walk around the savannah, you can walk up Chancellor, walk and go and get ice cream, that kind of thing. And again, your method for relieving your stress, I like that. We're going and fish and I think everybody should have some sort of route where they could where they would relieve their stress and stuff like that. Everybody needs that outlet.
Rodney, what is your method? Because one of the things that I like about this, we tend to have a narrative that there is stress and we have to manage stress. And what I heard you say, Noel, is you live your life not managing stress. You have a stress-free life. I don't think you're going to poison yourself with food, but you're not going to be restricted to foods.
But yeah, you're not being bogged down. Yeah.
So, Rodney and Emerson, and how do you recognize stress as a thing in your life? Let me ask that question. Do you recognize stress as a thing in your life? And if you do, what do you do with it?
When you're working and you're working with people and you're not your boss and you don't like people to try to boss you, because anytime anybody tries to dictate things to me, there's going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to allow that, period.
Yeah.
And how did I deal with things? I ignore them, Oh, yes. I have always, from long time, exercise. I used to jog before. Now I walk. I might do a little bit of jogging, but I basically walk practically every single day.
Yes.
Another thing I like doing, and go driving. So when I go to service and I come from service and I decide, okay, I'm going to Matplot.
Yeah.
I'm going to Citrus Icacus, going to Central. There's a very, very good road network in Central Trinidad. So you go driving. And I love that. I always like driving myself. But now I've got into the habit of leaving the car and going in the bus. And this way I'm able to enjoy
Enjoy the
Relax and
sights.
just.
scenery
Yes,
in a way
yes,
that
yes, yes,
I
yes,
guess I
yes,
was
yes.
not enjoying. Because just yesterday, my son was talking to me about what we used to do.
Yeah.
We come from service and then we go driving. And I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is why I'm hoping that I will be alive to see all the traffic lights removed from the highway.
Yes.
Mhm.
That brings me much joy.
Yes.
I used to go like Laventille and those places. I've been to parties there in my younger days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I ain't go in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to be a fool. You know what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
the various places that I've gone driving before, I may not go driving there like that again
Yes.
because the time has changed.
The high risk
The
now.
country has changed, and I want to
Yeah.
live.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm never afraid to go to the doctor
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all.
Nice. Nice. And
Fishing,
Interesting.
that was never part of me.
yes.
Hmm.
So
Huh?
Rodney, what do you do to, in terms of this word? I want to avoid the word stress because I am getting the sense that you gentlemen
Well, it's stress.
live and you be happy. You know? So what are the things you
True. Do to take my mind off the cares of the world. Okay, well, what you guys met me doing, into sound engineering.
Yeah.
You know, that way I meet people, I interact with people. That is nice. That is an outlet.
Yeah.
Also, I am still a national shooter. So I represent the country in pistol shooting. I've won various medals locally, internationally, regionally, Commonwealth Games, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that there brings a
Yeah.
lot of peace. A lot of peace. I mean, once you get to understand the whole equation where mastering precision is concerned, is something that is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. So there's one of my outlets as well too. So I do a lot of dry firing at home, a lot of meditation. So basically, when I come up on people or situations that normally would tick you off, I just say, you know what, you're quite correct. I am wrong, and I just leave it like that.
Yes. And you move on.
Just yeah, just move on.
You know that you see that method, that is my method, you know. No, probably because we have a similar kind of background, right? Because
Probably it could be.
I tell you, I used to work in the prison.
Yeah.
And when you used to check
in the front from both of you, you know.
when you used to check
going and drive.
well, true. When you used to check the most stressful job in the world, like prison, you used to be like number 1, number 2. Every year they check, they do a survey, you know.
Yeah.
But so that's why you see, whereas other people might be uncomfortable, you know, in particular surroundings. I know I always focus on my surroundings because of my job. That's why I say, you know, I go like anywhere, but it's not that I'm not focused. I'm always focused. I remember one time, you know, I went what do you call this place? For ice cream at Häagen-Dazs, and you know, and my lady friend said to me, you know, she said, "How are you moving so?" And I said, "You know, how many people in here?" And I tell her, "Well, you know, so many men, so many women, sure, and anything." And she, "Wait, is I going out with James Bond or what?" I said, "No, but once I go stepping up a room, you know, I check it or I scope it out. I make sure all who are wrong. When I go in the bank, it's the same thing. So, but I still free up myself in the sense that I go all about, but I never lose focus, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sensible.
One of the things that I'm hearing that I really, really like and that I'm being drawn to, and I'm going to beg permission to draw a comparison, and I think it's necessary. This is
Sure.
National Men's Day. And Jennifer, you could probably give an opinion, or you gentlemen can give an opinion. I think women focus a lot on what will stress them and spend a lot of time thinking of how to manage and minimize distress. But what I'm hearing is that you all have things to do with life. It's not that you're oblivious to issues, but you continue living and you have things to do, and therefore, how do you manage stress is not the question. It is, how do I continue living my life and being conscious while I'm living? And I think it's a very significant perspective that I've just found a reason to really celebrate International Men's Day, if my premise makes sense to you all.
Yes, it does.
You know what I just said.
If you women study men a little more, you'll be stress-free.
That's what I'm
Stress-free.
realizing. That's what
Oh.
But Noel,
what I'm realizing.
you know, well, Tarian said that, but I still feel maybe it's not say some people may say worry, but there are situations that may cause you concern. All right?
Yeah.
There are
Yes,
situations that
yes.
may crop up in
Yeah,
your lives that, if you don't want to say it as stress, but you're concerned about it, you may
Yeah,
worry
of
about
course.
it. And you have to really find a solution. Now, we may be more animated as a woman, take on more, whatever. But I'm aware too that there are situations that men, it is more difficult for men to handle than women, depending on the type of situation. I could be wrong. But I feel I understand, which is great. I call it that freestyle, which is what you are saying, to ignore the things that you can't control. One of you all
Yeah.
said it, you know, you
Yeah.
try and ignore it. Snow also said it, you leave it alone. You can leave it alone and move on and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
With women, you tend to, leaving it alone. You try to, you go at it. You
Big
keep
stress.
going at it until it may never be solved, but you keep going at it. And that's the difference. But is it, would you say that there are no, you don't allow yourself to dwell on certain things on you know, when it comes up? Things that you feel maybe a difficult situation, you move on, or you that's my thing. Do you dwell on it at all? Like how we tend to dwell on things.
I
Well,
think I
like-
tend to remove, sorry.
Mhm.
Go ahead,
No,
Alison.
it's okay. Alison, go
I
ahead.
tend to remove myself from certain situations. If I see how things are going, you have to take note of what is happening. And if you don't like it, sometimes you will try to change it. But if you know the people and you know how they generally react, or you see if you're trying to do something and they go in a particular way, that's all. I'm done.
You leave it alone. Yeah.
Move on. Like
And there's something
your
that I
children
tell
are now
people.
big. When you're small, I could have directed you. Now you're big. You have to deal. I'll still talk to you if you allow me to. But you have to live
manage
your
yourself.
life. Many times we want to rule our children's
Exactly.
lives. We have to let them go. Yeah.
Of course. And there's something I
unlike
always tell
you all,
people.
my grandchildren are not my responsibility.
All right.
Yes.
Never
Mhm.
expect yourself from everybody else.
Yeah.
Never
Once you
what?
live by that rule, don't expect yourself from everybody else.
Mhm. Yep.
Meaning
I'm not-
how you.
Yeah.
You're not hearing what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I
No,
get
I
your
know.
meaning.
I think I'm hearing, but I'm not following.
I get his
Okay, so
meaning.
what I'm saying is that how you would deal with a situation, or don't expect yourself from everybody else. What you would do and what I have found is that a lot of people would say, "Well, boy, I didn't expect him to
would've
be
did
like
this.
that. If it was me, I would have do so." No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
They come.
You can't do that. Don't expect yourself from everybody else, because you are you and they are them. And once you could
It's
understand
really
that,
managing the expectations.
exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
What you would do, not everybody else is going to do or would do, but they would not think like you. So don't stress yourself out trying to understand why they did not do what you would have done.
Do that.
It,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense.
Or your way.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I think 100% of stress or 99% of stress comes from
It's
expecting
from
other
that, yeah.
people to do what you want.
That
them to do.
expectations and want them to do
Exactly.
what you same be exactly like you.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate
They-
International Men's Day every single day. Like
Well, on a different note, on a slightly more somber note, I lost my son this year, right?
yes.
Sorry.
Sorry to
In
hear that.
January.
That's my condolences, yeah.
in January, and I what I try to do is keep myself really occupied right now.
Yeah.
I keep active because my son and me was like ring on finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
And unlike, well, there are a lot of men nowadays, they don't know what to tell. They don't know to tell their son these 3 words: I love you. That never happened
Yeah.
with my son and me.
Mhm.
Big man as he
Mhm.
was
Wow.
at 44 years old,
Right.
we meet each other in the street. I hug my son, he kiss me, I kiss him, and he never leave me without saying, "Love you, Dad. Love you, son."
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
So this, you see, this International Men's Day, well, I
Mhm.
like to dedicate this one to my son because he was
Great.
more than I am, much more than I am,
Okay.
and he was
I hear
he was a great father, great father.
Beautiful. Well, he had a great
Noel,
father.
what you just said, yeah, no condolences, of course, to you. But you see that, what you just said there, that is so powerful. And I'm happy that you were able to enjoy and love your son in that way where you all could hug and tell each other you love him. Because I don't know, there's let me say there's a myth outside there that our men tend not to hug and kiss. They don't show emotions, you
That's
know?
also
Not
what I
And
emotions,
meant
they
to
don't show
propagate.
affection.
Action,
they don't
yeah.
show affection. Okay, they don't show affection. And what Noel has said, that is so powerful. So I would like to believe there are many, many more men like you, Noel, that is like, that show
Mhm.
that type of affection. If not, and you have, this day in honor of your honor and your son here, definitely I would love all the men who listening to know, wow, if they don't do that, you should really try and embrace
Mhm.
and show love and actually say I love you. Because as I said, there's a myth that I don't want to get in. I have no statistics on that. But I would like to believe, yes, there's a lot of love going around among the men, our men, and their
I think it is a
sons
myth. I think it
and
is a
younger
myth.
ones.
Yeah, I think
So
it
I
is.
want to ask a question. I want to ask a
Mhm.
question now. So Emerson and Noel, where were you guys last week Sunday?
Last week,
Sunday?
Sunday?
You mean
Was it
Emerson
last
Sunday?
week
was right
Sunday?
there,
Yesterday?
Rodney.
Yesterday?
Emerson was there.
Mhm.
Emerson was there.
Oh,
Yes.
you talking
Emerson was
of the
there.
function?
Yes,
Function,
Emerson
yes.
was there.
Yes, I was at the
Oh, Emerson
function.
was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Last week,
Noel is
Sunday.
Noel is a regular attendee at our events. He just wasn't there last Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
know,
All right. All right. Okay. So then I would take back that
You were the
question
newbie.
then.
But
You,
Yeah, I
think
realize that now.
what
I
One
heard
more
Noel
thing,
talk about
one more
hugging
thing,
his
Rodney.
children. Sorry.
Rodney, you mentioned being a song engineer and all that, and this is another area of mine too, music, because I
Serious.
mean, I was in the prison band also,
Oh,
I had my
okay.
own little band. I had my own little band going. I still play the music, So
Mhm.
we must get together and have a little music
definitely,
discussion.
definitely.
Yeah.
Of
Next
course, of
event.
course.
Next event.
So
We're
you're
arranging for
Mr.
you all.
Prospect
And we
then.
have a fantastic panel here.
Emerson, you were going
Yeah.
to say something. Emerson, you wanted to say something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Noel talked about hugging his son. I don't really hug my sons, really. But
Why?
one in particular,
Mhm.
whenever I drop him, whether for an exam or whatever, I'm a Roman Catholic, so I would bless him and make the
That's your
sign of the
hug.
cross on his forehead
That's your hug.
and his chest and so on.
Mhm.
And now that my son's a big man,
Yes,
and many times he
Mhm.
dropped me to the airport,
yes.
and then I bend for him to do the same thing. He's doing that to me, what I used to do to him.
The anointing.
He's
All
doing
right,
that to
well,
me. And it
Yes.
doesn't matter how many people are around.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
bend my head, and he
It's a show of affection, and
It's
yeah,
your
get
hug.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
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 It is. I mean, like he said, it's the same thing. If I'm leaving the country, any of my kids drop me to the airport, it's the same hug up and that kind of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose it is
The
all
hugs
how
come in
you were
different ways.
brought up or you're sculpted, you know.
The
Yeah,
hugs
yeah. I
come in
suppose so.
different
This is how
ways.
you brought up.
Your hugs
Yeah.
come in that side of the cross and that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did it with my
Because
father. I was into my 50s and I hugged my father in the street and kiss
Me
him, and
too.
you know what I mean?
You know,
Sometimes when people ask me about it, I said I the mafia way.
yes. You know, I really do. I have to say this, and this is something that I'm glad we're having this discussion about, because I really believe that, and ladies, you could quarrel and carry on with me if you want. It doesn't matter to me, because I really do believe that sometimes there is a feminine agenda it's a sort of a step on, and to keep talking about men in a way that, to me, defies what I see generally. And I see a lot of love being shown between men. Men, when they get
Mhm.
together, they hug, they bounce.
Yeah.
Watch them play football,
Yeah.
watch them play contact sports, watch them huddle anywhere. And the
Watch them drinking
narrative,
in a bar.
Ah.
and when women just get out of the way, brotherly love is real, it is alive, and sometimes
Yeah.
they're just jealous and bad talk it. And I just love that spontaneity. That I don't think this is not normal in terms of following your religious beliefs, Emerson, blessing your children and covering them, whether you use the sign of the cross. You look at the people in the Hindu tradition, they always have their charms tied onto their hands.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
your buddies in the military and paramilitary. Give me a chance. You can't break those bonds.
No, you can't. No.
Your batches go
Yeah.
deep and
Yeah.
long, deep and long.
That is very deep. That is
And
deep.
those,
Mhm.
you know, in the music world, you talk about, Noel, your bond with your son, and I'm sure it continues with your grandchildren, and you talked
Yeah,
about
yeah.
him as a father. And I'm thinking of most of the men that I know, I think what I'm hearing is they continue having life and enjoying life. They provide, they are balanced, and probably, Jennifer, we need to get women to stop trying to get things their way, as you say, because the men not taking us on. That may be part of it.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, we take you all on. Yeah, yeah. But
not to interfere with your life.
we know how to distress ourselves too.
Yeah, this whole thing, Jennifer, you've been to yourself, you haven't been the Jennifer that I've seen before. You're a bit more reserved here.
So where were we? So I can.
I could say, you know, I'm making the point that one of the things that's coming out clearly is and I'm bringing a woman's point of view here, and perhaps women like to have things organized and done in the way that they like it done, whereas men get it done, but they also get their lives going, and it is clear that this is coming out, and why men seem to be so relaxed, so unbothered, and why, for we as women, life is good, there's little to complain about, so let me get under his skin and get him to do something else, because everything else has been done.
You know, that is 100% truth there. That is it. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because Jennifer, what I'm saying to you is that why I'm not saying you do it. Terriana, well, I know you don't do it. What I'm saying to you is why would a woman speak to her husband or her significant other and say, listen, honey, the grass needs cutting. And the person says, okay,
Honey, the
I'm
grass
gonna
need cutting.
I'm gonna take care of that. Don't worry about it.
Honey, the grass need cutting.
And then 5 minutes later, come back, honey, the grass. Didn't I just say I will take care of it? I will take care of it when I'm ready. Don't tell me that you want me to take care of it now.
You know,
understand what I'm
I
saying?
agree, Rodney. I think that is a flaw with a lot of us women in terms of you almost given orders and expect it to be
Yes,
done immediately, and not just
immediately.
immediately,
Like
done
if
the
you wanted
way
it
you
syrup.
want it done, done the way you want it done. And I think it's because they're looking for that sense of they want that commitment, a commitment in a different way too. They want to feel
Is it commitment or control?
yes, I admit that. No,
Well
it's a
said,
control
well
in a
said.
way, but you want to feel that you have your partner doing these things for you to make you feel needed, make you feel good. That is something within the culture, I think too. I would say many of us, you grow up in a home where your mother always harassing your father to do something. There are two reasons for it. One, in the very early days, if you go back with those who 70+2, where in many cases your mom at home, she's the homemaker, your husband out all the time. When he come back, you feel you have to harass him to do something. Because he mustn't rest. He mustn't look like he's relaxing because you feel you work hard. It may have changed a bit, I would say. I must admit, in my case, I always tell people I have been very fortunate in my background in terms of my growing up with both parents. Mom was a homemaker, but my dad worked. But my father's a family man, always there for family. So again, and then leaving that home, and when I got married, I would say now maybe fortunate. I have a husband who's just like you all, who happy. Happy. Starians, I don't think he knew the word stress. You know what I mean? Enjoyed life. And as you, Rodney, mentioned that you like your spouse or your partner with you all the time, wherever you go. I had that situation where I don't care where my husband really feel I should be at his side. But I also aware of that situation where like we like to control, that sense of control. And with three of you all have been very, very good in terms of this international they celebrating men. That untruth about men who may be lazy and who are not responsible, etc., etc. It's not so. You all, all three of you all show and in terms of what you have been saying, definitely prove that wrong. And I hope many of us women, many of the women who are listening in may rethink.
Let's
Yeah.
continue celebrating the men and not dragging the women and the bad habits into the
Yeah, because all Royal mutual funds are not the same.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it as a bad habit. I just want to say
let's
not
the women
everybody.
And I want us to, because we could easily take this sideways. And I think what you all are bringing up is the true essence of what a man is, and women who are looking on need to listen and accept it, and not try to necessarily explain what we tend to do because we know what we are. But I love that you all are bringing out what I think is the reality of men. They honor their commitments, they honor their positions, they understand balance in life, they have balanced lives. And if the people around them, you could be feminine, you could be whatever it is, try to throw up that balance. Once you know your commitment is done, you're having a good time. And I think that is why men don't have what we call stress.
Now, in all fairness to women as well, right? Now, don't, like Rodney said, don't be confused. All mutual funds are not the same, right? Fortunately, you got 3 men on your show this evening who are of like similar in the thinking, but yeah,
And listen, and we didn't notice.
I know. That's why I said fortunately, right? But you have the delinquent ones as well, you know. You have the delinquent ones as well.
I want to say that there are delinquent men and there are delinquent women. And I don't believe that delinquent men are typical of men. I think most of our cohort, the 5.8G cohort, are very representative of you. And I tend to resist very strenuously discussions that try to drag in the 2-3 delinquents. Let me go to the prison. The prison population might be 5,000 people. There are 500,000 men there. So they are not typical. They are not. The nagging, miserable women are a minority. Most men are happy with a partner. So it means most women are not nagging and miserable. Or the men find a way to just not bother with them. Which leaves them.
I think that part, Rodney, may answer, Terry, and said it there. When I asked the question at our last show about my really wanting to see more men attend our function, it may be after time the men must say, you know what? Let me just leave that moment to themselves, you know? And just do our thing.
Emerson and Noel, what is your perspective on that's the, should I say, the apparent, you look at certain social situations and they're dominated by women. Is that something that bothers you? Let me ask the question in that way.
But certainly for me, it doesn't bother me because, you know, my parents separated when I was just 20 months old. So I grew up with my mother. But every holiday, we spent it for father. That's one thing, so that you knew your mother and your father. Now, the other thing is that I had my turn, like my sisters, to do everything in the house. So I went to school, secondary school, not elementary school, but in secondary school, I washed every day. Because I want to have clean clothes. I didn't have 5 shirts. So every day when I come from school, I wash my shirt. Iron it. I had to go on my knees to scrub the floor at Christmas time, especially. You scrubbing the floor. It wasn't just my sisters. I had my turn too.
Of course.
Cooking. That's all. I had my turn to cook. So when my mother went to the river and I was on holidays, we had a shop. I was in the shop. I made sure I cooked and ensured that she received her meal. Not at 2 o'clock.
At 12, when she should.
So, you know, the thing is, women in our family, they were always in charge of everything. Shopkeepers, they were, bakers, tout bagay. So you grew up knowing that and hearing talk in the village that, in fact, the women wear the pants in our family. That's what was being said. You know? So you know that my mother worked very, very hard, apart from the shop, in the garden and everything. So my sisters, my aunt, they worked very, very, very hard.
Mhm.
So this thing of, you hear that there's certain tasks for men and certain tasks for women. I never had that.
Right.
That was not how it was.
Yeah.
So therefore, I never had a problem of cooking, mopping the place, cleaning,
Mhm.
and talking of the house, not just the yard,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
because that's how I grew up.
Right, right.
Mhm.
I fixed my fridge, my stove, everything. I don't do those things now,
Right.
but in the early days, especially when you had to watch your money,
Yes.
I did all those
You
things.
do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I grew up under the similar
Paying
situation, you know.
paying people to do
but-
things for you. I did things myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was from how I was brought up.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yes, right.
So my father was in the military. Okay, so from a young age, he was you know who was in charge, because that's how daddy was.
Yeah.
He was militant. He couldn't differentiate between work and home. So home was like in the army camp still. That's what it was. We had time to do this, time to do that, and it was very again, using the word militant. But then my grandmother slowly snapped us out of that.
Mhm.
Because when he is saying, well, mommy would say, well, wash your wares, and he said, wash your wares, boys don't wash your wares, it's feed the yard and whatever. So he and mommy would have that tussle, and he would, because Rodney had to feed the dogs, he had to clean the dog kennel, he had to clean up the yard, he had to do the grass, he had to washing the wares and seeing about inside and sweeping and things. That's for my sister to do. That's not for me to do.
Oh no.
However, when you get holidays and you reach my grandma,
Life is balanced.
anybody had those grandmothers that the closest thing to their hand is what you used to get? Is the pot spoon, is the slippers, is the shoes, whatever their hand closest to, that's where you get it. So I mean, grandma snapped us out of that very quickly. And grandma always used to say something. So Rodney, once you get iron and cook, no one can make no style in you. So
Yeah.
from an early age, I learned to iron and I learned to cook. And I was amazed one day I sat down watching TV and saw a James Bond movie and saw James Bond eat with a knife and fork. And that changed my life. From a tender age, you could have swear I would have eat soup with a knife and fork. I'm telling you, from a very early age, that's all I wanted to do. I found that was so classy and I just wanted to do that.
Mhm.
You know, so when he was saying about it had specific chores for men, and no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Noel, what is
Men,
your
women,
view?
same thing, no difference.
What is your view of this conflict that I think the popular media likes to encourage?
No, well, I kind of similar like the both of them in terms of when I remember I was 7 years old, was a Sunday morning, and my mother came home from the market, and she told my brother, who is 2 years older than me, she said, "All you have to learn to wash, cook, clean, iron, and everything." And from 7 years old, I started to cook. I wash, sew. I used to sew all the curtains in the house. You know, I went on to doing tailoring. I was the only boy in my
Wow.
class in secondary school in the needlework class. And the fellas used to laugh at me until they realized when bazaar time come, I used to be making dresses for my teachers, and I was going to school, but I was getting paid for it.
You had your skill.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
you know, and I always used to tell my colleagues one thing. Unlike fellas who are bachelors, you know, I used to say I was a house husband, because the thing is, I cooking, washing, cleaning, sewing, ironing, you name it. Everything a woman do, I do except make a child.
Mhm.
you know.
But you did, you
And,
started. You started.
you know, and yeah, that was it for me. And I don't see no, I like to see women do stuff where say like on an equal basis with men then, you know, because my mother was like that. My father used to work at forestry division. We lived somewhere, Laventuro to be exact, in somewhere. And a jeep used to pick him up on Monday morning and he go to work. And we not seen him until Friday evening when he come back.
Until, yeah.
So
Right.
during the week, my mother is father and mother. And you talk about granny, anything she get?
Exactly.
She
Yeah.
my mother was, I feel she should have been in the military too, because watch now. Yeah, she was strict.
Right.
Yeah, but and that worked out good for me, for my brother and me, and I have a,
Oh,
I had a
yeah.
younger sister. It worked out good for us. That keep us on the straight and narrow. And I
Correct.
learned that, and I pass it on to my children, and same thing, you know.
Yeah.
That was the good. That was the good way of life. You see that? That was the good life.
Yeah.
I worried about it. I worried about the generations that come in, because you see these values that we had, they're not passing this on.
They don't have them. No, no, they
No,
pass it on. They don't have them.
Which
They
well,
don't have
yeah.
them.
brings us to our round of
But-
questions. You know, as we said, I think your definition of maleness, your lives as men, I think is a fair one. It represents the typical man. And you do what is your responsibility and then you enjoy life. As you look now at people going on, what would you say? What advice would you give to younger men to prepare them to have a good life on the third act stage?
First of all, they would have to seek God.
Mhm.
They would have to seek God. Have some sort of relationship with Him, whereby they would understand His teachings, and
Mhm.
life would have value to them.
Yeah.
It would bring some sort of value to their lives, and that's what I feel they need to pass on to their children and well, spouses and that kind of stuff. Because I don't think, like how Noel and Emerson said that you know they would hug the children and that kind of. I don't think that this generation here.
Young men.
I don't think this pass
Young
on.
men.
The young men they don't do that. I don't think they show that kind of that. I think that they truly believe that having that sort of affection is a sign of weakness as a man. And to me, that shows more strength of a man than anything else. That's how I view it.
Okay. Mhm.
You know, so I think that is something that they should pass on to their children and their spouses and relatives and that kind of stuff. You know, that value for living for life, and show that affection.
Okay.
You know, they need to show more affection to one another.
All right.
That's my take on
But,
it.
Mhm.
you know, what I like to say here with that affection, and I normally share this too in discussions like this. My family is a close-knit family, and yet still my parents didn't show that kind of affection. We didn't grow up with that hug and kiss at all. You know, my father worked hard. Again, he came from a military background too, a military and police service in those days. And as I said, my mother was a homemaker. I don't know if it's because the amount of children you came from, but that was the norm for a family size of about 8. But we didn't grow up with that hug and kiss. But let me tell you what we grew up with. A lot of respect,
Yep.
togetherness. We grew up where every Sunday, my father, all of us line up. We lived in Belmont. And we go down to the savannah, we go for a walk, we go and listen to the police band, we walk around, you know. We always did things every single weekend as a family. That's when he had
Family
time,
time.
especially on a Sunday.
But right, that is
And
as you
then
said, the hugs,
on
the hugs
holiday
come
time.
differently. The hugs
So
come
on
differently.
like when you have the vacation, school vacation and thing, as a family, we drive up to Miara, we take drive, you know. And with that, a lot of stories were told. You know, you hear a lot about how they grew up, the different he will give different examples of what we should do, etc., etc. And I must say that made a big difference to us in terms of how we deal with people, respect for each other, and that togetherness. So where in some cases people may not be able to demonstrate, like what you say, the love in that in the way of the hug and kiss, but in
well, there's
different
different
ways.
ways of
I'm
showing it.
super
Exactly.
blessing.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
my
as we
mom,
said, the
very
hugs
Catholic,
come
so the
differently. Yeah, but they are
Yeah.
there. The hugs are there. They
you
just
know,
come
Main thing
different.
is the love, you know. The love
Yeah.
inside,
it's
you know.
just
Correct.
love. It's how you show that love.
What advice would you give to, say, a young man in their 30s, 40s to prepare them for life on the third act stage? Emerson.
Oh,
First
okay.
of all, it depends on whether they want to accept anything. Because one of the things when I look at the young people, how they react to you, how they act towards you,
Mhm.
I might just say, hey, I ain't going to tell you anything. So I think
You with
growing
someone
up,
that you care for and someone who is willing to listen to you. Yes.
Yeah, who's
yeah,
receptive?
All right.
Yes.
Assume
then I
that it
can
is a
talk to
receptive
you.
person. Mhm. Yes.
Even my children who are big, I'll still talk to them, recognizing, of course, that all you have to do is to give advice, and you have to watch
Advice.
how you give advice,
Yes.
because you may want to give advice in a certain way that just turns them off,
Yeah.
and you have to recognize that, okay, I left home as soon as I was through school, I went to study, and everything that I have done, you're going back to what you learned, but you're on your own. And you have to recognize that your own children and people around you that you may care about, they have to make their decisions. You can give advice,
Yeah.
but they have to make their decisions themselves. And you have to just learn to accept that. But I'll tell you one thing, when you look at many people, I mean, who might be walking down the road here by me, I ain't going to offer advice. No, I'm not going to be stupid. You have to recognize the times are different.
Well, advice like that is usually given to people in your circle and who are close, not the average stranger.
Yeah.
So it's really
Well,
about,
well,
yeah.
not really, you know, because just last week I saw a bunch of youths just liming about after school, and I went and I talked to them, and you know, I tell them, I say, listen, don't waste all the time, you know, focus on your education. That is important now. Focus on your education now. You have enough time in the future to you know, to lime and that kind of thing. Yes, they're going to school now. Focus on that, you know, and on getting your education.
Yeah.
Well, my advice to any young person again is to, you know, try and see if you get a good job, a job that will pay a reasonable pension, because this is what you have to look at. You know, you have a job that's gonna pay a good enough
Yeah, the
pension.
benefits down the road.
Yeah, you know, and you get your family early. You try and get your family early while you're young, so you and your children could actually kind of grow together. That is important too, you know. And this was my way. Me and my children grow together. They used to say, "That's your brother." No, that's my father. And I used to kind of feel proud of that. You know, they look at me and my daughter and they say, that's asking the mother, you know, that's the sister. No, that's my mother, you know, and it's a good feeling to be growing with your children, you know. So things like that for me, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, as Rodney said, you stay connected to your God, you stay close. Because when all else fails,
Mhm.
you know, you
Yeah,
have to
you
go
do feel
to
it.
the Creator.
Yeah. But in terms of our wrap up for the panel discussion, what are your takeaways
No,
from this international?
I just would say we have been so fortunate to have these three gentlemen. It was a fantastic, conversation.
Mhm.
And it's nice hearing from each one of you all and to know that, very responsible men, very loving men, men who who out there enjoying the third act stage and not using the word stress, but moving along very nicely and very happy with how they live their lives, before and continue to enjoy life. So congratulations. That's all I have to say to these men.
Okay.
But I think for our purposes, I think what is clear is that men and women are very, very different. And I think what has come out is that we have three examples of manhood, three examples that are very, very different, but still very much the same in being solid citizens that care for families, care for loved ones, and accept responsibility. And I think the thing I like most about men which came out here is they just enjoy life no matter what. And that's something that I think women have a difficult time doing.
I didn't think so at all.
We enjoy life. We enjoy life, and we enjoy our women too. So don't feel
It's
left
a
out.
part of life. It's a part of life. But that balance.
We need each other. We need
of
each other.
course, it's always there. But I love the fact that we were able to talk about your views on life as men and how you see life without complicating it with a discussion of women, because that I think often happens and it takes away from the essence of masculinity. So I really appreciated that about this conversation. So thank you all very much. And I think now there is meaning to say Happy International Men's Day. Emerson, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to thank both of you for having invited me.
Yes.
I enjoyed it, listening to all these military men. But I think when I listened to Noel, and the way he was talking, I say it's the experience he's had working in the prison that he thinks he can just go and talk to young people like that, because I get a little scared. So I keep my corner. But the experience he's had, he can go and
as I said, different men
coming
at life from different perspectives.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I want to thank you all.
very
I
much.
want to thank you all also for having me on your program, and it was a good experience for me too, and hearing the other brothers there, and their views on the similar topic. Yeah, and as you said, we different, but we so much the same. All right. So thanks a lot for having me on. Yeah.
Great.
I also would want to say thanks for having me on the program as well too. The panel guys here, like everybody said, is different but the same, and don't be strange whenever you all feel free to call on me anytime you want to have me on your show.
You'll all
whatever.
get together at the next event.
Of course. Definitely. Definitely.
Yes.
Okay, gentlemen. Thank you so very, very much.
Well, Terry-Ann is so happy. I mean, that's a fantastic way to honor our men. And I learned from it. Yeah.
Great. I think the main takeaway from me is let's listen to the men. They don't have stress in their lives like we like to have stress in our lives. They live. It's not that we focus on stress too much, but we hope you really did enjoy this. And on behalf of Jennifer and myself, Connections 50 Plus, all of our 5.8G men, Happy International Men's Day. Continue living your life, enjoying it. Y'all are solid, y'all deliver, and we love you and we are proud of you all. So take care. All right.
Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.